Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to make a video about creating a plugin. It's just going to be a basic, very simple plugin on creating your first plugin. Nothing fancy at all. As a disclaimer, I have no programming training or anything like that. I'm just something that I play around with, right? And then my next video is going to be about actually creating a plugin about pulling some MySQL queries and then displaying them in a blog. I mean, that's kind of where I want to get to, right? But before that, let's get into creating a plugin just for those guys that don't know how to create a plugin or think it's too much. It's actually pretty easy and straightforward, and especially if you want to do some sort of MySQL work and you don't really have a lot of technical background, it's not as hard as it may sound. So anyway, I've got a test blog here and some test pages I'll create in a sec. But in the moment, let's get started with the actual plugin stuff. So in order to create a plugin, all you need to do is you kind of go down to wherever your blog is on your website or hosting site. In my case, it's this is where mine resides. But ultimately, you want to go to your blog, and in your blog, you'll want to cd to WP content, plugins, and then pretty much create a directory here. So as you can see, I have a whole bunch of plugins that I have at the moment. So pretty much you just create any directory, any name you feel like creating. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but I would suggest you create a directory with the same name as your plugin that you want to call it, right? So in my case, I created a directory called product underscore query because ultimately I want to do some sort of queries from my database, right? So the most simple form of creating a plugin is you just create a PHP file. You are going to need to have intermediate PHP skills. PHP, if you're a Perl programmer, PHP is really easy to do, very simple. In fact, you'll prefer it over Perl in all honesty. Otherwise, there are some videos on some PHP stuff, but uh, I'm not going to necessarily get into PHP other than just creating the plugins itself. But by all means, if you have some questions, you can leave them in the comments, right? So I've created a quick plugin here, just test. So just like I said, the most simple form of creating a plugin is you create a PHP file, and in that PHP file, you're going to have a header. Now, the plugin name is what you want to call it. So this can be whatever you want to call it, right? In my case, I've just called it a test, but I mean, you can call it, and you'll see in my next video, I'm going to call it product query. So this could be changed to product query or whatever you want, right? A description, version, your author. Now, this is a private plugin. It's not something you're going to distribute necessarily, but and then a URL if you want, right? So in this case, you can see it's just there's a function. In this case, I've called it test underscore new. Um, yep. In there, I have obviously some code in there, and then I have a shortcut. Now the shortcut's going to be useful because that's going to allow you to actually demonstrate the actual whether your function's working. So this is an important bit here. You don't actually have to have a shortcut. I think there's probably a way you can get around just printing out the output, but it kind of defeats the whole purpose here, right? What are we trying to achieve here, right? So you can actually create any code. You can print stuff. You can probably query stuff. You know anything you really want here, you can actually print to the screen. In this case, all I've done is I've assigned a variable test and it equals to test, and then it returns test, and then this is the shortcode that we're going to use. So the shortcode is the same name as your function name here, right? So the actual shortcode that you want to call it can be anything, um, and I'll show you in the next video. There's a way you can actually pass parameters to the function as well. So if you want to give it certain parameters, you could do that as well. But this is essentially the most simple form of a plugin that you can get. It's just you basically do some stuff in your code, print stuff, whatever, and then you want to return it back to your blog and then print it in your blog, right? So now that we've created this plugin, we'll save it, and then let's go activate it and see what it does. And then we'll come back and do some tests here quickly. Okay, so I'm just back on my blog. I'm just going to go to my plugins here quickly, and you'll notice there, and I'll show you this in a sec. We'll change the name, and you'll see that name change in a sec. But in this case, we have it's called a test, because of whenever you make changes to your plugin, you're going to have to deactivate it and reactivate it. In this case, we'll just go ahead and reactivate it, right? You should see it actually activates. You should see your plugin activated. If there's something wrong with your plugin and it complains, you're going to see the errors up here, right? But in this case, this is what you're looking for. It's plugin activated. That's a good result. Okay, so we're going to go to post here quickly. We're going to create a post. We'll just call it test. And then the shortcode, you just want to put the shortcode in here. In this case, we've called it test, right? That's all you need to do. We'll save it. Save it as a draft in this case. And then if we preview the posts, you're going to see that the test result is actually printed at you, and that's exactly what we're looking for, right? So let's go do a few more tests so I can show you different results or slightly different results. Okay, let's just deactivate it while we're out. So let's give it a new name, and then, like I said, the name doesn't make a difference. So let's say if I rename test to ocean.php, whatever. And I'm going to change the name here. And why not? Let's call it ocean. Right, let's call it a different type of ocean. Okay, just to kind of make it fancier. Okay, and in this case we can do something. Let's see if we can try something else here. Let's do something. Let's give it a. So it's going to try date here quick, but let me just let's do 1 sec here. Okay, actually that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's leave that. Let's just give it another variable. Let's just say. I was just going to go find the date function there, but it's okay. Monday, okay. And why don't we do something like return $date .test. We don't actually need that. We can just do. I think we can do this anyway. See what happens. Okay, we'll leave the rest the same. Doesn't matter. You could change the name of the function, but that doesn't matter. We don't really care about that. You can call it whatever you want. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, we're going to go back to plugins. Just remember to deactivate and reactivate it. There is a plugin that you could have it automatically update. I was looking at that last night, but I'll probably go and find that. Okay, we deactivated it. No errors. That's good. Okay, if we go to test here quick. Okay, so there you go. There's your there's the Monday, and that's a most simple form of a plugin. It's really easy. So if you're looking to do some sort of output, display a file or display the contents of a file, you could just throw it into a plugin. You really don't. PHP is pretty straightforward. If you don't really have a technical background or programming background, you're probably going to be a little challenged. Like I said, there's probably tons of videos actually on YouTube that'll show you how to write some basic PHP stuff. I mean, it's really not too difficult. I mean, if you have a programming background, it's going to be a breeze, right? So it's really not a big deal, right? You don't have to get too fancy. I mean, a lot of people have really fancy plugins and stuff. You don't have to get too fancy with them. But anyway, in my next video, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna one of my drives here is to actually query a SQL database. I haven't done this in my first plugin, to be honest. So I'm going to be doing that in my next video and walking through that and test and see if that actually works, and then seeing if I can actually create a bunch of shortcodes. I have a bunch of products in the database, and I don't want to go be copying and pasting links and stuff. I want to pull those from a database and displaying them on the screen and making it pretty easy and stuff, right? So that's kind of where I'll get. So if you're interested in something like that, then check out my next video. And if you've got any questions about this one, by all means, leave me a comment below, and then I'll try and answer you if I can. Thanks very much.